Breaking news. The United States Army has just placed a massive bet on a sci-fi shield for its tanks. It's a $250 million investment intended to save lives on the front lines. But there is a massive, buzzing question mark hanging over this deal. Today is Tuesday, January 27, 2026, and the headline is, U.S. buys Iron Fist, but can it stop drones? Before we get into the heavy metal, a quick message for everyone listening who cares about the security of Europe and the ongoing fight for sovereignty in Ukraine. We are tracking these developments because they matter right now on the eastern flank. So please, subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex. Join me with Aria in the latest deep dive by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover a story that sits right at the intersection of heavy armor and high-tech survival. So here's the reveal. As of yesterday, the United States Army has officially placed a massive order for the Iron Fist active protection system for its Bradley fighting vehicles. We're talking about a system designed to shoot down incoming missiles before they even touch the vehicle. It sounds incredible. It sounds like something out of a video game. But, and there is always a but, in defense procurement industry experts are right now in a heated debate over whether this expensive high-tech system can actually stop the #1 threat that is killing armor in Ukraine right now. And it's not the big missile, it's the cheap, plastic, first-person view drone. So today we are unpacking this $228 million contract awarded yesterday, January 26, 2026. We're going to look at the physics of these hard kill systems, why they actually failed significantly in the past, and we're going to confront the drone countermeasure paradox, the scary reality that our smartest weapons might be getting outsmarted by the dumbest ones.
It is a fascinating moment for military tech because we are watching a real-time evolution of defense, largely driven by the pressure cooker of the war in Europe. And the contract details really set the stage here. Yesterday, Elbit Systems, an Israeli defense giant, was awarded this $228 million contract by General Dynamics.
And just to be clear, this is for the Bradley, right? The workhorse of the infantry.
Exactly. Specifically, the M2A4E1 Bradley infantry fighting vehicle. And here's a crucial detail that links this directly to the geopolitical situation. This isn't just about upgrading a few training vehicles. This funding is coming largely from supplemental aid and Ukraine replacement funds.
That's a key point. It's not just the Pentagon finding loose change in the couch cushions.
No, it connects to this cycle of warfare we're seeing. The U.S. has been sending older Bradley variants to support the defense of Europe and Ukraine against Russian aggression. And as those vehicles leave the U.S. inventory to go fight on the eastern flank, the Army is using those replacement funds to buy new, upgraded versions for its own replenishment fleet.
So this is directly tied to lessons learned from the front line.
Absolutely. It ensures that the West is fielding the most advanced tech possible, essentially backfilling the arsenal with something smarter and tougher.
Okay, let's unpack the tech itself. When I hear Iron Fist, I'm picturing, I don't know, a martial arts movie or maybe a superhero, but we're talking about a tank defense system.
Yep.
For the listener trying to visualize this on a muddy battlefield, what are we looking at?
You have to stop thinking about armor as just thick metal plates. Iron Fist is essentially an invisible pseudo-shield. It's an active protection system, or APS.
So it doesn't wait to get hit.
No. It uses a concept called miss to kill. Unlike the trophy system you might see on the heavy Abrams tanks, which fires a shotgun-like blast of metal pellets to shred the threat, Iron Fist is a bit more, well, elegant, scientifically speaking. It fires a small interceptor with a combustible casing.
Combustible casing? That sounds specific.
It's vital. It launches this projectile towards the incoming missile. But it explodes near the threat, not necessarily hitting it directly. The explosion creates a massive shockwave atmospheric overpressure.
Right.
That shockwave crushes the thin skin of the incoming missile or just knocks it off its flight path so it misses the tank.
And the casing just burns up.
Completely. It vaporizes.
Yeah.
And this is the aha moment for the engineering. Because there's no metal shrapnel flying back from your own interceptor, it is much, much safer for the infantry soldiers who might be walking alongside the tank.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. In combined arms warfare, like we see in urban combat or trench clearing in Ukraine, you don't want your tank's defense system to injure your own troops.
Not at all.
And we are putting this on the Bradley because, well, let's be honest, the Bradley isn't exactly the toughest kid on the block, is it?
It's a balance. The Bradley is an infantry fighting vehicle. It's made of aluminum and laminate armor. It's designed to be fast and carry troops. It can stop heavy machine gun fire, like 14.5 millimeter rounds, but modern Russian anti-tank missiles, like the Coronet, or even a standard RPG-7, they slice right through it.
So Iron Fist is basically the final goalie.
It's the final layer of the onion. If the camouflage fails and the jamming fails and the armor isn't enough, Iron Fist is the last line of defense to stop that missile from turning the vehicle into a burning wreck.
But here's where the story gets really interesting. This sounds like a slam dunk success story, but it wasn't always this way. In fact, just a few years ago, this system was basically failing its exams.
That's right. If we go back to around 2018, the Army tested this, and it did not go well. The interception rate was hovering around 50%.
Oh, coin flip. Not exactly what you want when a missile is flying at your face.
Precisely. They had issues with the counter-munition dudding, meaning the interceptor wouldn't fire or wouldn't explode, and massive power failures. The older Bradleys simply couldn't generate enough juice. You have to run a high-tech radar and motors to spin these launchers incredibly fast. The car battery just died, essentially.
So how did they get from a 50% failure to a $228 million contract?
They decoupled the problem. First, the platform changed. The new Bradley M2A4 has a beefed-up auxiliary power unit and a high-voltage bus.
So it's like upgrading the alternator in your car to run a massive sound system. It finally had the power.
That's a good way to put it. And the system itself, they moved to the Iron Fist Light decoupled configuration. They separated the sensors and the launchers to stop interference. They tested this new setup in 2022 at White Sands Missile Range, and the success rate jumped from 50% to 70%.
Now I can hear some listeners thinking, 70%. That's a C minus. Is that really good enough for $250 million?
Well, in the classroom, 70% is a C minus. But in high-intensity warfare, a 70% chance to survive a lethal missile strike compared to 0% is a massive leap. It changes the survivability calculus completely.
I guess if you have a platoon of Bradleys and 70% of them survive the first ambush, you win the firefight.
Exactly. If 0% survive, you lose the war.
Okay, so we have a system that works against missiles, it works against RPGs, but this brings us to the cliffhanger we mentioned at the start. The drone paradox.
This is the suspenseful conflict at the heart of this purchase.
Right. We're seeing $500 FPV drones, first-person view drones, destroying multi-million-dollar tanks in Ukraine every single day. Can this $250 million Iron Fist stop a cheap piece of plastic with a grenade taped to it?
The official reports are calling the capability unclear or ambiguous. And there are three big reasons why, based on physics and geometry.
Okay, let's break them down. First up, speed. Or rather, the lack of it.
Right. Velocity gates. Systems like Iron Fist or Trophy were designed to stop missiles. Missiles move fast, 200 meters per second or more. To stop the radar from freaking out every time a bird flies by or someone throws a rock, the computer has a filter. It ignores slow things.
I see where this is going.
FPV drones are slow. They might be coming in at 50 meters per second or even hovering. If the drone flies too slow, the tank's computer looks at it and says, "That's a pigeon," and ignores it.
That is terrifying. The technology is too advanced for its own good. It's looking for a Ferrari and gets hit by a bicycle.
Exactly. Then you have the angle problem. Radars and launchers on tanks usually look out toward the horizon. That's where tanks and soldiers are. They don't look straight up.
The sensor black hole.
We call it the donut of vulnerability. There is a cone directly above the vehicle where the radar is blind. We saw this tragically on October 7th with the Hamas attacks on Merkava tanks. They used drones to drop grenades into that exact blind spot.
If Iron Fist can't look up, it can't shoot up.
Right. And the third problem, the swarm.
The swarm.
This is a simple math problem. An Iron Fist launcher typically holds only 2 interceptors.
2, that's it.
2 ready to fire.
Yeah.
If a swarm of 5 drones attacks you, this system might brilliantly stop the first 2. But then, click, you're dry.
And to reload?
You have to open the hatch, climb out, and reload it manually.
Which, in the middle of a drone swarm attack, is basically a suicide mission.
Correct. So you have a magazine depth problem.
This raises the big strategic question. If it struggles with the #1 threat we're seeing in Ukraine right now, why buy it? Why spend the money today?
It's a valid question, but we have to look at the global context. First, traditional threats haven't gone away. RPGs and anti-tank guided missiles are still the primary killers of armor. You can't ignore the 70% of known threats just to wait for a perfect solution to the new 30%.
So it's about covering your bases.
It is, and it's about buying time. The Army is installing the hooks and hangers, the
Hmm.
hardware, the wiring, the launchers
Yeah.
right now. The beauty of modern tech is that the velocity gate issue I mentioned, that's largely software.
Oh.
Elbit has already demonstrated software updates in Israel that allow the system to recognize drones.
So they can patch the tank like I patch my smartphone.
In theory, yes. Once the hardware is bolted on, you can update the algorithms to say, hey, that slow-moving, buzzing thing, kill it. But you can't do that if you don't buy the hardware first.
And we aren't the only ones doing this, right? Europe is watching this very closely.
Absolutely. The Dutch and the Swedes are equipping their CV-90 fleets with Iron Fist. They are looking at the same threat landscape Russia and making the same calculation.
Speaking Russia, they always claim to have the best gear. What about their active protection? We hear about the Arena M system.
Russia talks a big game. They claim Arena M can stop top attack javelins. But, we have to be very skeptical of those claims. It's mostly propaganda. We haven't seen verifiable, widespread success of Arena M in Ukraine. They're desperate to counter Western weapons, but their industrial base is struggling.
And just for a quick comparison, why Iron Fist and not Trophy? Trophy is on the Abrams and it's battle tested.
Weight and collateral damage. Trophy is heavy. It shoots a shotgun spray of formed penetrators. It works great on a massive Abrams tank. But for the lighter Bradley, Iron Fist is lighter, and that blast wave interceptor we talked about is safer for the troops piling out of the back of the vehicle.
Okay, so looking forward, we buy Iron Fist, we install it. But you mentioned the swarm problem. 2 shots and you're out. How do we solve that?
The future isn't one system. It's a layered defense. Iron Fist shouldn't be shooting at every cheap drone. That's a waste of an expensive interceptor.
It's like using a diamond to cut glass when a rock would do.
Right. Ideally, Iron Fist detects a drone with its radar, but then passes that data to a soft kill system, an electronic jammer that severs the drone's signal, or maybe a remote-controlled machine gun that shoots it down with cheap bullets.
You save the Iron Fist for the big, fast missiles that you can't jam?
That's the idea.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Why does this specific contract matter?
It matters because we are witnessing a fundamental shift in land warfare. It's a cat-and-mouse game. Offense gets better, drones, missiles, defense responds, Iron Fist, then offense will adapt again, maybe swarms.
And the Army is already looking past the Bradley, right?
They are. The replacement, the XM30, is being designed with this protection built in from day one, not bolted on later. They are looking at AI that can visually recognize a drone, solving that radar speed issue entirely.
But there is a warning sign here, too. I saw a mention of a GAO report, the Government Accountability Office. That was pretty critical.
Yes, and this is crucial. The GAO criticized the Army for what they call a digital twin deficit.
Break that down for us.
Basically, the Army isn't using enough virtual simulations, digital twins, to test these systems. If you have a perfect digital replica of the Bradley and the Iron Fist, you can run thousands of simulations of drone swarms overnight. You can learn how to defeat them in the computer before you risk lives on the battlefield. The Army is lagging there, and that slows down adaptation.
So we are buying hardware, but we need to upgrade our digital thinking.
Exactly.
As we wrap this up, I keep thinking about the economics of this. We're putting a multi-million-dollar shield on a multi-million-dollar vehicle, and the enemy is throwing $500 drones at it.
That is the provocative thought to leave with. Iron Fist buys the crew a second chance. It buys survivability. But is it sustainable? In a world where an enemy can launch 1,000 cheap kamikaze drones, can we afford to shoot them down with expensive interceptors? Or do we need something entirely new?
Lasers, microwaves.
Directed energy. That might be the only way to survive the next decade without going bankrupt. But for today, for the soldiers in the Bradley right now, Iron Fist is the best shield we can give them.
It's a fascinating, high-stakes evolution. You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on these technologies and understand what's happening on the front lines, remember to subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.